Did I lose you on 34th Street already? Okay, so we're on a right lead. Step one for cueing a flying lead change. This is also kind of the steps for teaching it. Change the bend to the left. We haven't changed leads yet, we just changed our bend. Can you guys see how my horse's nose is to the left now? When you change the bend, kind of simultaneously, you're going to use and ride with your left leg. This is to keep the horse on the right lead until you say change. This will also cause the horse to move their shoulders slightly more to the right. Do you guys see the position I'm in now? I'm still in a right lead, but my horse's nose is to the left. And you guys see, because I rode the shoulder over, now the hip is slightly in. Can all my riders see that position? Yeah, this is yes, this is no. All right, so we're here. The last step to finally cue the flying lead change is going to be releasing your left leg. That is going to be our cue for the flying change. So until you release your left leg, they should stay on the right lead, even though they're in this position now. This is good news to us, that we're going to release pressure to cue the flying change. Because if I said to you, the way we're going to cue the lead change is you're going to take your right leg and you're going to kick them. How's that going to work out at a canter for a sensitive horse?
Like great.
It's not going to work out so good. Is your horse going to love a flying lead change if they get kicked in the side whenever you ask for the lead change? No. That means it's the no fun change.
You got a bump.
We want it to be the fun change, not the no fun change. And so we want to take pressure away versus applying pressure for the cue. Now, if the horse does not change leads, let's go back to my spot here. I've changed the bend. I've ridden the shoulders over to the right, I released my leg, and absolutely nothing happened, and my horse did not change leads. Because they're learning it, they don't know yet. They don't know that that was the cue. Now, you could very softly bring your right leg on and ask the horse to step their hip over. Like that. So do you guys see? This is called haunches in to the left. Now, I would recommend you give your horse 5 to 10 strides to change leads before you pick them up and you come down to a halt, if they miss the change. So if they miss the change, I'm not recommending that you just keep hooking around the arena with your leg on until they finally change. This is also good news, because cantering can be an emotional gait for horses too. Okay, so cantering can get people to get a little revved up because things are happening fast. It can get fast for humans. So here's the really good news. You're riding a right lead, you change the bend, move the shoulders over, you release your leg, they didn't change, you cue with the outside right leg, and they still didn't change. You're going to come down to a halt. And you're gonna do a couple things here. You're gonna finish by bringing their hip in, like that. And you're going to do lateral flexion to the left. This is very clearly to the horse the position we want them to be in. But you're going to release them at a standstill. The horse is going to find relief in this position because that's where the pressure went away. Horses can learn to do the flying lead change while they're at a standstill, really being released in this position. Because if they get sweet on this position and they're loping around and you cue it and they're like, I want to get to here, there's your lead change, without scaring them in the process. How many people in here have tried to teach a horse a flying lead change? Anybody? Oh, wow, a bunch of you. The easiest mistake to have happen when you're trying to teach a horse a flying lead change is they get scared, and even if they change leads, they end up going real fast. So I'm always aware of what I'm trying to teach the horse and what I'm trying to not teach the horse. Does this make sense, everybody? We gotta balance that, because if you get the lead change but your horse runs off now, that's not gonna help you when you're in the shoulder game, okay? And also, if they get scared, they probably weren't even aware of what their feet did, all right? So that is the cue. So what I'd like the riders to do, go ahead and come down here and get in cue, and we're all gonna go through this sequence together. You guys can also do this in your seats. You can just put your right hip and right shoulder forward. Yep, and we're all riding a right lead right now, and our body's at a walk. Okay? Wherever you're at, go ahead and do this. Now, everybody change the bend to the left, but you're still riding a right lead, but the nose is to the left. Now move the shoulders over to the right, slightly. Step 3, release your leg, and finish with the hip to the inside, and lateral flexion to the left. Okay, Grace, you gotta move the shoulder over a little bit as you do that. Did you give it a try, Carol? You did? All right. Perfect. Okay, do you guys feel like you got that sequence, or should we do that again? Okay, one more time. So all riders with me. We're gonna go straight down the arena here. We're on a right lead canter. So, okay, go ahead and stop, first of all. There is a picture a line straight across the arena that you're riding on. Because this is going to determine if the shoulders are ridden over or not. Okay? So can everybody draw a line through your horse's ears? My horse's ears would land on the R for in Wrangler, the very last R on the left side, or the Schrobing chute. Okay? That's my line. Okay, so everybody got their line? Now you're going to ride straight on your line. Your horse's nose is to the right, because we're on a right lead. We're going to change the bend to the left. We're still on our line. Now this is where the shoulders leave the line. Left leg is on, push the shoulders off that line. Step 3, release your leg cue and move the hip in. Oh, and we got Kelly. Go ahead and stop there. Do you guys see where Kelly's at now? Is she still on her line? Everybody go, and. She did the most classic thing that all human beings do when you ask for a flying change. This is the most classic mistake that we all make, including me when I'm not paying attention. We make this because it's so natural for us to do what Kelly just did. So thank you, Kelly, for giving us this example. We go like this, right lead, right lead, right lead, we're all fixed up, left lead, and we turn. And then your horse may not change leads, they may change in front and not behind. But the bad news is your horse understood that you said change directions more than they heard you say change leads. I don't want them to think changing directions, I want them to think changing leads. Once they're good at it, then we can change directions while we're changing leads. Does that make sense, everybody? But if too early on, if we switch up this way with our hands, then they miss the whole idea that we change the hind legs. Okay? Does everybody have that cue sequence? Yeah? So? Okay. So that is how you cue the lead change. It's a 4-step process. Change the bend, move the shoulders over, release that leg, and then if you need to, cue with your outside leg as well to bring the hip to the inside. And you end up in that haunches in position. Everybody that can ride a horse at a walk can start practicing lead change. So here is another classic mistake that we all make, and I made this mistake for many years. I was not very good at flying lead changes, and so I did not practice flying lead changes because I didn't want to mess it up. Anybody ever felt that way with your horse? You're like, I don't want to try this because I don't want to mess it up. Guess what happens when you never try something? You never learn to do it. So I wasn't good at lead changes because I never practiced lead changes. And I would never practice lead changes because I wasn't good at lead changes, and round and round I went, never got good at it. Finally I said, the heck with it, I'm going to go out and try this thing and see what happens. Guess what happened? I screwed it up real bad because I didn't know what I was doing. That is okay. As long as you learn from your mistakes as you go and you don't scare your horse, you have license to experiment. You have to practice. You have to be willing to fail often and fail forward. Here's another point about this. If I said to you guys, who here would love, if you came and rode with me for a week, who would love to be the one that learned the most from that week? Okay, a lot of you guys would say, yes, that's me, I want to learn the most. Guess what that also means? You made the most mistakes that week. which is the uncomfortable part. So you have to be willing to go out there and make mistakes, because that's how we get experience. I always think about this when I tell this part of the story. Imagine you're going to a doctor for like a big surgery.
Oh,
and
great.
you want to have a doctor who's really experienced.
Perfect way to start it.
It's like they made a lot of mistakes. It's like, just put that out there. Just think about that next time you're at the doctor office. Okay, back to our lead changes. Now we got to say to ourselves, we know how to cue a lead change, but our horse is green. What do we want these horses to be able to do to give us a good chance of a lead change? Before I tell you that, I want to tell you this. You can be on a colt that if you can ride them at a canter and you kind of ride away from the gate and you go fast enough and you turn sharp back to the gate, that colt can do a lead change for you very early on. Because colts are straight when you first start riding them. And then we start teaching them to be all bendy and wiggly, and then they get harder to change leads on. So keep that in mind, that any horse, although maybe foal, knows how to do a lead change. They may not know how to do a turnaround or a rollback, but they know how to do a lead change. It's natural movement for a horse. The part that complicates all of this is us, okay? And so we want to keep this really simple for them. But for me, most of the time, I like to put on all this body control on my horse to give me the highest percentage chance of teaching a lead change without making a mistake, okay? So here's what we're gonna do. One of the first things I wanna teach a horse to try a lead change is I wanna be able to do a counter bend. So I'm gonna ride my horse to the left, but I'm gonna pick up on my right rein. And I'm gonna ask her to tip her nose to the right, and I'm pushing her shoulders over to the left. Do you guys see how this looks like one of the steps in the process? You got to be able to achieve that position, because once you start changing leads on a horse, they start anticipating it. And they start pushing through your leg to change when you can say change. And so you got to be able to have them be patient to wait on you and give you this little yield at a canter. Can I tip their nose to the right and ride their shoulders to the left? So you guys can all try this at walk or trot, whatever you want. But you're riding a counter bend. The nose is to the right, the shoulders are going to the left. If your horse gets stuck and you end up at a standstill and nothing is happening, keep your leg on. I call it leg position 1, so it's slightly forward. And I'm gonna wait until my horse finally takes that step over and they step off my leg. What you want to avoid doing when you're teaching this little exercise is taking your hands and pulling harder and harder with your hands and trying to make it happen with your hands. Try not to do that. Let the horse learn to step off of your leg. And my leg is position 1, which to me means right where my legs are hanging, I call that position 2. If I slide my leg forward, that's position 1. If I slide my leg back, that's position 3. So forward a little bit, position 1, ride the shoulders in a counter bend. There you go, that's looking good. Can you do that at a trot? That looks too easy at a walk. Nice job, Carol, working at it there. Yeah, very good. Carol's got it. Have your leg forward a little more, Kelly. Right leg forward slightly. Because to me, you're cueing a little bit position 2. I want the horse to understand this is position 1. So everybody watch my horse for a second. Can you guys see how her shoulders are what's really stepping around and moving? She's moving her shoulders. If I was using position 2 on my horse, I would expect her whole body to move over. Do you guys see the difference there? That's more of a leg yield. I want this to be a counter bend. So this is one of the prerequisites. You ride those shoulders around.
Aaron, I remember one.
Okay, everybody do it both ways?
I remember when Sunny did
whatever you do on one side, you want to make sure you have it on the other side.
And it was when we were doing the flying.
That looks very nice,
Jumping
Grace.
figure 8.
She's getting a good little
She did
stuff around
so
there.
good.
So counter bend is a great exercise to get your horse to turn loose to you yielding their shoulders. It can help fix your turnarounds. And it's also a great way to, it's kind of a hard maneuver to do. And so if they get good at it, you can use it to release them to other things. Like, let me give you an example here. I'm gonna ride a counter bend to the right, and I'm gonna use it to release my horse to a turnaround to the right. So I do this first, then pressure goes away, and I release her into a step around on the haunches to the right. Okay? So counterbend's a really handy thing to know. Even if you're not working on your lead changes, the counterbend is a great tool for improving your steering, your turnarounds, things like that. All right. Are you guys good with that? Everybody feels like they got the counterbend? That was the easy one. We're going to go to the hard one now. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to demonstrate this on both sides of the arena. The next exercise is getting control over the horse's haunches. So you guys aren't going to be able to see real well. You guys are going to be able to watch. This, teaching a horse to do haunches in, is one of the more challenging things to do. So riders, can I get you guys to watch me real quick here? Or I'm going to have you guys all do this one next. You're going to ride down the rail, nice and relaxed. You're going to pick up your reins and put your outside leg, your left leg back, and get your horse to move their hip in, just like that. And then I want you to settle. After you've settled, I want you to kind of comb the rein and ask your horse for that lateral bend. Notice I said comb the rein, not pull the rein. If your horse has never done this before, it's weird for them to bring their hip in and then bend their nose in that same direction. That feels funny to them. And so they try to fidget out of it. You go to bend them to the right, and then they move their hip like that. So I'm trying to avoid them fidgeting around. Okay? So again, you're going to ride down the rail, put your leg back, move their hip in, settle, comb the rein until the horse tips their nose and gives you lateral flexion. This makes it very easy for your horse to eventually ride like this, where you can put them in haunches in. It's like the baby steps of it. It teaches them that they can put their body in that weird position, and then eventually you can ride forward while you're doing it. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate the same exact thing on this side of the arena, so you guys can see it. So this is getting the basics of hind quarter control so that we can talk to the hind legs for the lead change. Walk down the rail, outside leg goes back, move the hip in, settle, comb the rein, tip the horse's nose in, lateral flexion, and that's it. But that's not the end of it. This is how you start teaching haunches in. So pretty soon when that position gets really easy to get to, then I want you to start walking down the rail and see if you can keep the horse moving forward while you're doing haunches in. Okay? Let's have you guys all go to the rail and give that a try. If you can, Carol, try to avoid pulling his nose to the outside. Try to keep his nose straight if possible, and just move his hip in. So the difference of it being haunches in or not is where the nose is. So can you guys see Marley's nose is the same direction the hip is? If I pull her nose the opposite way like this is no longer haunches in. This is some weird leg move. Okay? They have to have their nose in the direction of travel in order for it to qualify as a correct maneuver there. Very important. So, outside leg back, bring the hip in, and let your horse stop and settle, and then do lateral flexion to the right. So Kelly, the lateral flexion there's great, but look at where the hip is. You want the hip to the inside of the arena. There you go. Now stop and settle. Take your time, Kelly. Lateral flexion to the right. There you go, Kelly. That's perfect. Picture perfect. Ooh, very nice, Grace. Grace has got haunches in already. Super. Really good. That away, Chris. Chris has haunches in on her horse. Very nice. So Chris got to skip the baby steps because her horse can already do the haunches in. Very good. But if you've never taught a horse haunches in before, if they don't know it, it's really hard to go from not doing it to doing what Chris is doing. If you break it into those baby steps like I just showed, it gets much easier to achieve. Much, much easier to achieve. All right, any questions from our riders to this point on counterbending, haunches in, any of that stuff? So yeah, go ahead and do that both ways. Everybody feels good with that? Easy peasy? Chris? This is a little harder side? Yeah. It's very common your horse will have one side that's a little easier than the other. perfectly normal. When I have a horse that's a little bit lopsided, one side's easier than the other, what I do is I'll do the hard side first, then I'll do the easy side, and then I'll come back and finish on the hard side. So I do the hard side twice and the easy side once. And typically with horses, for whatever reason, whatever you start with and end with seems to mean a little bit more to them than whatever happens in the middle. Have you guys heard that before? Like you want to finish in a really good spot or whatever you start with, you know? And so that, even if it's in the middle of my ride, I start on the hard side, go to the easy side, come back to the hard side. So for me, that's an easy way to just chip away at it and balance my horse, where next thing you know, the hard side becomes the easy side. Yep, really good, Kelly. You got it. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next piece. So the next piece is making sure, this part is very important, and out of everything I've shown so far, this piece, in my opinion, takes the longest to get good at with your horse. This last piece is loping around on a loose rein, cruising along and having your horse have good impulsion and not being speedy. They need to go forward enough that they don't break gait when you change leads. But if you can't cruise along on a loose rein, when you put pressure on them at a canter to change leads, your horse is going to get real speedy. So just achieving this step of easily guidable with good steering, good impulsion is really important. Does that make sense, everybody? So don't skip this step. This is not a step you can fix in one ride. This is something you should be chipping away at every ride. So, with that in mind, can I see my riders loop their horses around a little bit? Let's see which horses looks ready for that lead change. Now, you can choose how big or small the circle you're working on. But let me see you guys just lope around a little bit. Carol's horse looks ready. Chris's horse looks ready. Kelly's horse, that's looking good. She's managing with the reins slightly. So she's gonna try to commit a little bit to that loose rein. And you're gonna turn sharp, Kelly, if she gets speedy. That is much better than the first day, Kelly, well done. Who saw Kelly on the very first demonstration this weekend, yeah? That's much improved, isn't it? Yeah, let's give her a hand. Really good.
Woo!
Really good, Kelly. Okay, you guys all win. Now go ahead and bend them down. Go ahead and stop and release your horse and haunches in at a standstill. So put the hip in whichever way you want and then bend them to that direction. Very good. This is important because when we try a lead change, if we don't get the lead change, I'm gonna have you go a little ways and stop them and finish in the position for the new lead. Did everybody follow that? You were on a left lead, you tried to change to a right lead, you didn't get it, you're gonna finish and haunches in to the right to give the horse relief in that body position. No, I'm just saying, like, I'm giving you the idea that you're gonna finish at a standstill in that position. You'll see the pattern. Yep. Okay. Now, I want to show you guys a lead change pattern. Can I have my riders go down here and face the gate for me? Now, there's a lot of different ways that you can do a pattern for the lead change. I'm going to show you one that's kind of my go-to one. But if I ever change it on you, don't get mad at me. Because for most horses, the pattern that I'm about to show works really well. But sometimes it doesn't, and I'll change the pattern. But this is the pattern. We're riding here, and we're gonna ride out a trot, and we're gonna turn off the rail like I just did. So you go down the rail, you turn off. As you turn off the rail, I want you to ride a counter bend towards the rail. So can you guys see the line that I'm on? I'm angled towards the rail. My horse's nose is already bent to the left. Wherever it feels kind of good to you, from over here to the rail, at any point you can say to yourself, I like how my horse feels, I'm gonna release that leg and lope off. Did everybody catch that? When I said release the leg, that would indicate the leg was already on. Because as you're riding this counter bend to the rail, your left leg is on, pushing them towards the rail. So you have something on in order to release it. So this is the beauty of this psychology that we're adding to this. Let me go through that again. Where we're gonna release pressure and we're gonna get our horses sweet on that idea. So you're gonna start here, you ride around, pick up a counter bend, left leg is on, ride towards the rail, and at any point you can go and lope off on that left lead. Now, she took the left lead, so I'll pet her and I'll say, good girl. So if you can ride your horse out of trot and lope off, you can start building the button for the lead change. So I got her into that left lead by releasing that leg. Now she did turn off, she got a little spooked at the rail, so she did turn off, no big deal. That is one way to do that. So that, let's call that level 1. That's like your first introductory way. That if you're on a pretty young horse or green horse, and you can just do a little bit of that bend, ride up to the rail, release your leg, you can start practicing this. So I don't wait until I'm ready to teach flying lead changes to start teaching flying lead changes. Are you guys starting to pick up what I'm putting down here? Now, let's go to level 2 of this. Level 2, I'm gonna pick up a right lead. I'm gonna change my bend on this right lead. And I'm gonna ride towards the rail. As I get here, I'm gonna break to a trot, release my leg, and lope off on the left lead. Let's say right there she missed the left lead. She didn't pick it up. I'm gonna ride to here and stop and finish in haunches in with the bend. That's if we missed it. Now, this is a really important phrase I want you to take home with you. Let the pattern do the work. Let the pattern do the work. If your horse misses a lead change, I've seen plenty of people get coached to spank them, stick them, put more pressure on, make it happen. Or you're a bad trainer because you let your horse make a mistake. I'm here to tell you that if your horse understood your idea that you're gonna canter on the right lead, change leads and come over here, they'd be more than happy to give it to you if they knew that's what you wanted. And so by letting the pattern do the work, instead of our solution being add more pressure to the horse, we have a really good chance of getting a lead change without scaring our horses and teaching them a bad habit of running off through the lead change. Does that make sense, everybody? Should I go ahead and try one on Marley here? All right, let's give it a try and see if we can pull it off. This is actually her bad way. Her good way is left to right, ironically. Her not so good way is right to left. Let's give it a whirl. Come off the rail. I'm gonna yield her over. Get some impulsion. Release my leg.
Woo!
There's our lead change. Atta girl, Marley. Something to keep in mind. Lead changes are hard. In my opinion, lead changes and turnarounds are two of the more difficult maneuvers to teach a horse out of all of them. I've taught horses piaffe and canter pirouettes and dressage maneuvers and jumping things. And lead changes and turnarounds are easy to mess up because there's like a lot of different things a horse can do wrong. But when you set it up this way and keep it really simple, your probability of getting a lead change without scaring your horse is very high. I was able to do lead changes with a Mustang in 3 months because I set it up this way and I never scared her. I let the pattern do the work. And before I ever asked for the lead change, she understood when I yield over and release my leg, we're probably gonna take that new lead. And then she got relief over there, so she got sweet on that idea. Then the pattern did the work for me and she goes, I bet I could just swap leads and we could get over there a little quicker and get relief and be done for the day. And then she figured out I really liked it when she did that, and I got off her and loosened up her cinch and put her away, and she went, I love lead changes. This is the best maneuver ever. Okay? All right. Who wants to be the first volunteer?
Victim.
They're looking at the young one. They're like, send the young one. Let's put her out there first. Grace, you ready to give it a go? Now, do you guys remember I showed 3 levels of doing it? Trot in, lope out. Lope in, break gate, do a simple change and lope out. And then thirdly, lope in, do a flying lead change and lope out. What level do you want to try it at? 1, 2, or 3? Perfect. She's going to try level 1 first. Nope. You're just going to release your leg and see what happens. If your horse doesn't get a lead change or doesn't pick up the correct lead, then we'll put your leg on. But I want you to give them a few strides to figure out off of just that cue. Just releasing your leg. Just releasing that leg. You can have this leg kind of on, but not like crushing, not pressure on. Okay? Action. Trot down the rail. So she's going to try the first stage of this. So counter bend off the rail here. Left bend. Left bend. Left bend. Ride the shoulders to the rail. Left leg is on. Push the shoulders over. Left leg forward a little more. Release your left leg and lope off. Beautiful.
Woohoo!
And stop right there. Launches in to the left. Move his hip in. So even though he did it correctly, I want her to get in the habit of this. There you go. Now lateral flexion to the left. That was perfectly done. Let's give her a hand.
Do you do much of that, Aaron? Because we don't.
Now, do you want to try it from a canter in and canter out?
Yeah, we did flying
Okay.
lead changes, doing figure eights.
You do that.
Now, did you guys see that her horse gave her a little resistance at the trot
So
moving
you're just
over?
basically riding
It was a
trails,
little
you're
bit
not
sticky.
using it, I guess.
What?
Basically
So
riding.
we're gonna
just
have to
riding your
get
trails,
some
you
of that
don't have to
stickiness
be
out of
on
there
that,
to do this
do
at
you?
a canter.
No,
Or
she's my
the
English
horse is gonna
rider.
push through her
Oh,
leg a
the
little
English
bit.
rider.
Yeah.
Change the bend, ride with your left leg over to the rail. Ride, drop to a trot, trot, release your leg. Oh. Now right there, her leg, she looked down here and her leg never came off. I want you that leg to come off, and you gotta keep your focus up. You lose your kind of like mechanical advantage of your posture, telling your horse. So here's the thing, when you're cantering your horse on a right lead, your body's in a certain posture. When you're cantering on a left lead, your body's in a certain posture. When she looked down, she was no longer giving her horse the feeling of that posture of her riding the left lead. So I want you to look up, release that leg, and start riding a left lead. Okay? Action.
I'm sure it's a little confusing. I'm sure it's a little confusing.
Yeah.
for the person, too.
Oh, I did forget to tell her. She should have finished and launches in over here no matter what. That's the pattern that we got to be strict on. Okay, change the bend. Ride. Change the bend and ride the shoulders to the rail. Ride. Okay, now release your left leg. Drop to a trot. Release your left leg. Yeah.
Woo!
And stop. Now do haunches in.
Beautiful.
Haunches in. Lateral bend to the left. Yes. Take your time there. Take your time. Comb the rein. Comb the rein. Excellent. That was really good, Grace. Grace, could you feel how if you kept riding that pattern a few more times and you got your horse sweet on getting right to there, that you could come through that at a lope and take your leg off and he probably would make sense that the left lead is next? Can you feel that? How simple that would be? Awesome. So that's what I would recommend for you and that horse, is just let that pattern do the work. I would spend 2 or 3 days reinforcing that pattern before you try the flying change, okay? All right, well done, Grace. Who's next? We gotta draw straws here or what?
We're gonna draw straws.
All right. Kelly's not afraid. So just try it from the beginning. Take your time. So with Kelly's horse, we're being extra careful not to teach her to get too speedy for the lead change. This mare can get pretty sensitive at the canter, and so we're going to be really cognizant of that. Change the bend left rein, ride that shoulder, ride the shoulder to the rail. Yes, yes, very good. Release your leg anytime. Lope off. Go. And walk. Up, stop there, stop there. You're off pattern already.
Here.
You should be
I
facing
love
that way.
how Ryan is more
Easy.
patient with
Haunches
people
in.
than Clinton Anderson.
Launches into the
Clinton
left.
Anderson is so pushy.
Nope, just the hip. Just do the hip. Just the hip. Don't worry about the flexion right now. Hip is in. Now take your time there. You're not nervous, are you?
Horses can feel
There
when
you go.
you're
Now stop and
nervous.
settle. Stop and settle. You're trying to do too many things at once. Make it really simple. Slow down. Now bend that nose to the left very slowly. There it is.
Woohoo!
Good job. Kelly, no matter what, finish down there in this pattern. We're teaching the horses to go get relief there, okay? That is gonna help the horse want to change leads and go over there, okay? Yes. You're gonna lope in and lope out this time. But slow down, don't get punchy up.
Woo!
Yep. Counter bend, ride the shoulders to the rail. Ride. Yes. Trot, trot, trot. Release your leg. Yes. Very
Woo!
good. And walk, 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 walk. Take your time now. Launches in. Take your time. Very good. I like your feel that you have right now. Stay there, stay there. Your mare is getting relief right down there. Sit there and do nothing now, once you have them in that position. I want to point out one thing. Did you guys see her horse break gait through here? Drop to a trot? When Kelly reached for the rein, she pulled it pretty quick. She's got to finesse her feel there a little bit more. You're a little bit grabby with those reins. I want you to give her a little more opportunity. So notice how if I'm going to bend my horse to the left, I'm going to reach for my horse. Like I'm reaching to shake a 90-year-old lady's hand, very gently. I'm not trying to grab them and give them the old, good to see you. I'm going to do, hi, how are you? Reach for your horse. If you get in the habit of reaching for her, she will be a little less defensive. She's just a little bit defensive because you're a little quick with things. She didn't, now I want you guys to hear what I'm saying. At no point did I think that Kelly did it too hard. She did not do it too hard. She got there too quickly. She pulled on it too quickly, not too hard, too quick. Horses can get defensive or scared very easily from speed. So if you go slow and you apply pressure slowly, it gives your horse a much better chance of thinking about what you're asking them to do without them getting defensive. Okay? All right, Kelly. Lope down here on the right lead. Come off the rail and you're going to try a flying change. Action.
I love Western dressage.
Don't forget to breathe. And smile.
Smile for the camera.
So turn. Reach for the horse with the left rein. Ride the shoulders to the rail. Ride, 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 ride. Release your left leg. Almost. And stop. Stop, 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 stop. Haunches in. Take your time. Haunches in. Yep. Lateral flexion to the left. Very good. So, the mare did not hear her when she said, left leg's off, you can take a left lead now. She didn't hear you. I'm telling you, I promise you, that if I had given Kelly a green light to give her the beans with the right leg, we could make this horse change leads. And we could go, yay, we changed leads. And we also could teach this horse to run off and get very scared for the lead change. and it'll be very hard for her to do it when she's showing. She's gonna try to beat me in competition in a few weeks, and so I want her to have a good chance at it. Okay? So we're gonna let the pattern do the work. We're gonna let that mare get relief right there, and she's gonna go do it again.
wanna
And we're gonna keep
go
doing
see
it until we
horses
see the mare
Sure.
have some mental connection.